Hi everyone, my name's Miss Alyssa and I'm here at the Azusa City Library, and today we're going to be doing a DIY spectroscope STEM craft. Okay, so while you guys are getting all set up, you should have your craft kit. If you don't have your craft kit, here's the materials you're going to need. You're going to need a little paper towel roll, or if you don't have a paper towel roll, you can use two smaller toilet paper rolls and tape those together. You're also going to need either a CD or a DVD. I have a DVD, old Hulk TV series, so you'll just need to use the CD from that, okay? You're also going to need a pen or pencil. You're going to need some cardstock, or I have an index card actually, so anything that's kind of thick, paper, and some scissors and some tape. So I have some Scotch tape, but I also have some decorative duct tape. So if you have any kind of decorative tape, you can use that as well. All right. So while you guys are getting all your supplies, I'm going to just go over a little bit about what a spectroscope is. Okay. So I have a little diagram here. Okay. So a spectroscope is generally used to analyze light. And so typically we'll use a spectroscope to look at light coming from the sky. So say a star, right? And the star will emit light in a straight line towards us. And we'll be using they usually have some kind of like diffracting plate or some kind of basically it's like a hole that has a slit in it. And this allows only one little ray of light to come through. And then it will hit this grating, diffraction grating, and that will basically separate the light into its individual wavelengths. And each little wavelength will be reflected onto a detector. So in this instance, for our DIY spectroscope, our detector is just going to be our eye. So whatever our eye is able to see. In a more high-tech, scientific detector might be like a computer that can analyze the different spectrum of light. So here's a little diagram about like light waves. So generally white light is consistent of these colors of light. So violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And each of those different light colors have a different wavelength. So red has like the longest wavelength and violet has the smallest wavelength. So those two will always be on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay, so here's a little kind of a little diagram. This is colors of the Southern Crab Nebula. So this is light source out in space that we've been able to analyze with a spectroscope. Because basically when light interacts with a certain kind of gas, so say for example oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, when light interacts with those gases, it actually changes the light to a different color. So when we are able to use our spectroscope to determine the color that we are seeing, we can determine what type of gas or what type of elements are being emitted from that light source. So for example, the Southern Crab Nebula emits oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur, and we're able to detect that with high-tech spectroscopes. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and get started crafting our DIY spectroscope. Okay, so I have all my stuff ready to go. Let me go ahead and put up the instructions. So for our first step, we're gonna cut a slot into our little paper roll for our CD to kind of fit into. Okay, so this is basically a little tube, and towards the end of the tube, either end, you're going to cut a slot with your scissors at about a 45-degree angle. Okay, so you can kind of flatten your little paper roll just so that you can get your scissors to kind of cut that 45-degree angle. Now you don't want to go all the way through, you just want to like a slit. So here I'll go ahead and draw on mine just to show you where I'm going to kind of cut. So, and I want it sort of towards the bottom. So something about like that. Okay, so I'm basically gonna pinch right here so that I can cut a little slot, okay? So I'm gonna, again, kind of squeeze that and then cut right about there. So you can see I have sort of a slit right here, and that should be just enough for my CD to kind of slide into that slot. Now you might have a little bit of a gap right here. That's okay, because we can cover that up with tape, all right? So once you have your little slot for your CD, I would just make sure that it sort of is able to kind of stick there, kind of like that. So the second step is we're going to cut a viewing hole. So this is so that we can look inside the tube and see the light that's being reflected off the CD, okay? So the CD will be on this side, so I kind of want my eye slot to be on the opposite side. So if you guys remember, I had like a little marking on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. You don't have to mark it, but I'm just going to use a pen just so that you can see kind of, excuse me, the shape I want to make. And when you make your viewing hole, you want to make sure that it's directly across from where the CD is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and put maybe like a hole. So I made sort of that shape, and I'm basically going to cut that bit out. So let me get my scissors. So I'm going to again kind of pinch sides, and then I'm going to cut basically 2 lines here. So I cut basically this part here, and what I'm going to do is slip my scissors in so I can cut this kind of hole open. You see that I have a little rectangle. That's going to be my viewing hole. So I just basically cut out that tiny little rectangle, and it should be directly across from the CD. Okay? So you can even just use yours right now. If you pointed at a light source, you should see some light reflecting off of the CD already in sort of a spectrum of colors. You can kind of see on camera that the CD is already reflecting light in sort of an array, or kind of like spread out. I'm just gonna kind of flatten this out a little bit. Okay. So there we have basically our CD slot, our viewing hole, and we can, I didn't add it on our instructions here, but we can go ahead and secure the CD to the tube. So I'm gonna just use some tape. I'm gonna kind of just put some tape on the back here and on the front here. And again, if you have some kind of duct tape to cover up those holes, feel free to use that. If you don't have any duct tape, you could probably use like some extra paper if you have that. It's not super important to cover the hole, but just keep in mind that it could let in extra light that can kind of affect what we're seeing, right? Okay, so again, I have my CD in my slot. I have my viewing hole, okay? And then I just kind of taped it into place a little bit. So I'm gonna set this aside, and what we're gonna have to do now is make the top of our spectroscope. So right now it's just kind of open, and what I want it to do is only let in a certain amount of light. So we're basically gonna make a single slit in some cardstock or index card. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold that in half, just so I have like double the layer so that you can't see as much light come through. And I can use this to kind of measure the hole. I'm gonna use a pencil this time. It's a little bit easier. Kind of measure the hole. And then Here, actually, I think I do need to draw it on for you guys so you can kind of see. So that's sort of just a little circle. And then I want kind of a thin slit, right? So I'm going to, right in the middle, I'm gonna want to cut that bit out, okay? So I'll go ahead and cut out the circle, and then I'll cut out the slit. Okay, so I cut out my circle. I have two identical because I folded my index card in half. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pinch this so that I can cut the slit out, similar to how I cut the viewing hole. Oops, excuse me. So I cut two lines, and then I'm going to kind of feed my scissors through so that I can just snip off the end. Fold this over. So now I have a slit inside of my circle. Okay, and you can do it skinnier than what I did. I think actually I did a little bit too big. You can also experiment with the different sizes just to see if that changes what you see. Okay, and so we're going to want to tape this to the top. Okay, so I'm going to tape it so that the light, basically the viewing hole is on this side, and I want the light to come in a like up and down line when I look at it. So I'm going to place my slit basically, like if I look into my hole right here, I should see an up and down line because this is up and down. Okay, and now I'm going to basically just tape this to the top. Some tape. So if you made your circle a little bit bigger, that's fine. You can just fold over the edges. Again, we kind of want to only let in a certain amount of light. Oh. So yeah, I'm just taping the slit to the top. I'm kind of going all the way around just so that it doesn't bulge up a little bit. So there, I have my little top, okay? And guys, that was pretty much it. We made our CD slit for our CD to fit into at a 45-degree angle. We made our viewing hole, and then we made our topper, our little single slit diffraction, okay? And just to explain a little bit what diffraction is, let me just turn on this real quick. So diffraction, it would be this one right here. So when the light is let in through the slit here, basically the different wavelengths will enter through the hole kind of like at different angles. And that means that the light will be kind of diffracted into different angles too. So that's how we sort of get one separation of white light into the different colored lights. And then it actually happens again. So we have our single slit diffraction, and then the CD actually also has a second part of diffracting. So it diffracts it even more, because what a CD basically is tiny little grooves that store data on the CD, that basically when a laser goes over the grooves, it's able to determine the data. So this has a bunch of tiny little grooves or little slats that further do this kind of similar diffraction. Okay, so let me close that. Oops. There we go. So the last step is to decorate. So again, I mentioned that I had some duct tape, and I went ahead and already pre-decorated one. So this one here, I kind of just covered, I went a little crazy with the duct tape. I went all the way, I covered the bottom, I covered up the holes here if you have any, and I wrapped all the way around just to kind of make it look kind of cool, huh? So if you have any kind of decorative duct tape, you can, or if you don't have any decorative, maybe washi tape. I know washi tape, it has lots of cool designs on it. I just made sure not to cover up my viewing hole, of course. Or maybe if you have markers, you can, you know, color on yours and make cool designs. So that's up to you. I did want to see if we can try to see what kind of light. I have a little demonstration. See if we can. I'm just gonna grab the camera real quick. Hi. So I have a sorry, I don't mean to make you dizzy. I have a ring light right here, and that basically will emit white light. Very bright white light. So let's see if I can angle. I'm basically gonna angle this guy, the top part towards the ring light, and we'll see if we can, if I can get you guys to see. There we go. So I'm pointing it at the ring light right now, and you can kind of see it's very bright, so it's kind of whited out a little bit, but we see blue, I see green, I see yellow, I see a little orange, and I see a little red. Okay, so which is a lot of that rainbow of colors that you see in white light. Now, interestingly, if I point this at my computer screen, so now I'm pointing it at my computer screen, you actually only see blue, green, and red. And that's actually because computer screens only give off RGB light, which is red, green, and blue. So I thought that was kind of interesting, is that when I point it at my ring light, you see a little bit, you see a little bit more of that rainbow spectrum. It's a little too bright for you to be able to see a lot of distinction. But when I point it at my computer screen, you see only the 3 colors. So I would suggest trying to, here, let me put this back. That was just a little demonstration of the types of things that you can try to look at with your spectroscope. So you can, on a sunny day, you can go outside. Don't point it at the sun. You can just let the sunlight go into the top, and then you can just see normal sunlight should give off that normal white light. And then you can maybe try if you have fluorescent light, or maybe you have LED light, or maybe you have maybe you can try your TV screen, what kind of light that emits, or maybe your cell phone, what kind of light that gives off. So try to experiment with the types of lights that you see. Even candlelight, just be careful when you're lighting a candle that you can try to see what types of color spectrum you get from a candle or any other type of light source. Okay, so that was pretty much it for our spectroscope craft. Let me go ahead and talk to you guys about our upcoming crafts. So next week, I know we were a little delayed on this one, but next week is already going to be our kaleidoscope craft. We're going to be making kaleidoscopes, and we're going to be learning about mirrors and a little bit more about reflection. Today we learned about diffraction, and we're going to learn a little bit more about reflection during that live stream. Okay, so make sure you sign up for that at the link here. The link should be in the description box below as well. And if you don't already know, we also have fun family trivia night, where if you're a fan of the Marvel movies, we're going to be doing some trivia on the Marvel movies. That's going to be on Zoom. So make sure you sign up for that as well. And then also, it's really helpful for us if you guys take our survey. You can either scan this code right here, or you can, I believe there's a link in the description box below as well. So make sure you guys take our survey just so we can get a little bit more feedback from you guys about how to make our STEM crafts and other types of programs better. Okay? So again, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys are able to have fun making your little spectroscope, and you're able to kind of experiment with the kinds of light that you can see. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay? Bye.